Tropical Retribution. Written by Nicole. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. Tropical Retribution is a work of fiction. Unless otherwise indicated, all names, characters, businesses, places, events and incidents in this book are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Chapter 1. It was Wednesday, April 1st, 2024, at 11:57 a.m. when Cristiano Caselli's death broke to the cybersecurity community. There was no time for his team to handle the damage caused from the viral post by an anonymous account known as FlyHighIcarus. Who or whom was behind this account? It was anyone's guess. Any scandalous or salacious information about Cristiano was the exact reason for this account's existence. FlyHighIcarus had simply been replying and emoji reacting with Cristiano's posts for months. Despite all this, FlyHighIcarus was seen as harmless. So it came as a shock to Cristiano's inner circle that this account was the one to break such heavy news. The 38-second-long video showing a hotel entrance in a tropical destination with local paramedics ushering a body bag from the lobby to the ambulance near the front doors received 53,009 views, 226 likes, and 70 comments to be exact. The FlyHighIcarus account immediately amassed nearly 2,000 followers claiming to have posted the unverified corpse of a world-renowned cybersecurity icon and formerly ranked sexiest man alive, making all of the events surrounding his death a true tragedy. Cristiano's persona was larger than life, with his arrogance and stubbornness creating mortal enemies. He savored in ways to extract revenge. In one notorious smaller incident, he ordered a blackface lawn jockey statue and placed it on his target's porch, snapping a photo with their house in full view. Shortly after, he logged onto Mango Farms, a site dedicated to discussing eccentric people who voluntarily make fools of themselves, and released the image. When confronted by his victim, he goaded the guy on to admit he was a racist.
"What's wrong, boom? Mad you got exposed."
Had the man fallen into this obvious trap, Cristiano would have captured a screenshot to reinforce the anonymous poster's claims. When it came to larger revenge cases, he would map out his target's family and friends, and then start picking off those of greatest importance. He was just warming up when carving out a path of destruction on his way to you. As he would menacingly declare,
"Satan's back on the throne,"
before unleashing his wrath on what he designed to be one of the worst moments in his victim's life. Insidious actions like these kept the haters boasting many times over in their group chats about how they would relish in the news of his death, but the reality was just somber. Cristiano achieving such a coveted sex symbol status was a significant feat which many computer nerds were envious of, in addition to his elite hacking skills. They knew his project spanned many industries from land to space. Looks, talent, and personality? How could so much good fortune land in one person? What would Cristiano Caselli's obituary headline read? Was he dead? Cristiano's death remained shrouded in mystery, with rumors suggesting he faked his own death to live off an obscure insurance policy known mainly by the financial elite. There was no formal identification of who was in the body bag. Only the narrative from his local assistant, who his crew found out recorded the video. Either way, the main narrative was that he died in a foreign country with no extradition treaty with the United States while on the run from Uncle Sam. When FlyHighIcarus pinned a post to the top of their profile requesting anyone with information regarding Cristiano to come forward, Arin Driscoll saw these speculations within the first couple days. Some responses said he was alive and on the lam. Other responses gave Cristiano threats about being bad on his bills, among other grievances. All while his two best friends Derek Galicia and Ben Walker maintained he was murdered and justice needed to be served. Cristiano's death unleashed a dark force upon the world, one with intent to cause unnerving pain to anyone associated with him. The same power he had in the living realm was ricocheting into the months after his death. Some of his friends, once allies, turned into enemies, while others who became disgusted and disturbed over his real character quietly distanced. Arin was among the select few who dared speak out after finding out about his last damning acts on this plane of existence from FlyHighIcarus. Cristiano's closest supporters maintained him as nothing less than a hero and an eccentric genius with grandiose and comedic tendencies. Their loyalty twisted into something malevolent and dangerous. Arin Driscoll, Cristiano's former mentee, began to comb through private conversations they shared before their falling out. Additionally, she had also saved screenshots before removing and blocking him from all her social media platforms. It was difficult to pin down the mix of emotions she felt while preserving a former friend's brilliant moments in the middle of a falling out. Most of the saved images were his pro tips Arin wanted to revisit that would guide her towards greatness and success in her fledgling career in cybersecurity. In her phone's camera gallery, she typed Cristiano to the AI search bar and began scrolling through the images. One pro tip in particular stood out. In total shock, she realized these rumors could have validity. The first of the speculatory messages involved the admission of needing facial reconstruction surgery.
Pro tip, moving forward is hard and most likely an identity issue. And no, thinking about getting my face reconstructed so I'm not linked to my past identity.
Derek Galicia's screenshotted response.
My brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, wishes he looked like you.
For those who knew him, they took this as a joke. Cristiano was the sturdier version of Jake Gyllenhaal. There's no reason for an attractive man with his confidence to do such a thing. Cristiano always exhibited his signature reddish-brown auburn hair styled in a medium crew cut. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches, he had a healthy balance of stocky yet muscular build on an inverted triangle body shape. This physique tanned to a golden beige in the summer months. His gray eyes complemented his distinct, though not overly sharp jawline, which was perpetually shadowed by 5 o'clock stubble or a short beard. In public, strangers often mistook him for a model. Hardly surprising given his striking appearance. Yet, despite his good looks, he was genuinely funny. Those closest to him knew that beneath the humor lay heavy matters tied to his success. Cristiano's combination of levity and depth only made him more admirable in their eyes. In the afterlife, he was achieving infamy due to all the chaos surrounding his death, but public airing out of his advanced drug addiction explained the recent outrageous behavior on his social media accounts. One of his last posts was a self-filmed outburst of himself screaming,
Fucking get me. Raid my house, take my stuff, perp walk me. You think I sleep with devices full of evidence? You think I don't wipe these devices every night? You think I'm dumb? I'm a naturally broad-shouldered man and not afraid to defend myself.
A small group in the cybersecurity community had been trying to expose Cristiano for the past year, and this wild card of an event was their chance to raise more awareness on a situation as serious as they were claiming. The anger and hurt Arin felt from reading Cristiano's words was palpable. Only time would tell if these potential Freudian slips held any truth. It was the next set of messages she shared to FlyHighIcarus's pinned post that caused Cristiano's posse to start their attacks on her. Normally, Arin wouldn't have betrayed a deceased former friend. When she first learned of Cristiano's possible death, she understood that the world lost a man with ideas that truly moved humanity forward. She was ready to forgive and forget. But over the next few days, when she realized the espionage allegations against him were most likely true, there was a change of heart. Arin initially thought FlyHighIcarus was a piece of shit for releasing the body bag video. She now believed FlyHighIcarus to be on the right side of the situation after their account provided screenshots and additional evidence they had in their possession. The suppressed anger from the previous years boiled to the surface. Cristiano's death was unfortunate timing. 6 people, including Cristiano, whom Arin considered friends in the cybersecurity and cryptocurrency communities, were outed as frauds. His betrayal hit a nerve, and for the first time in this situation, Arin chose to take back control. After FlyHighIcarus reshared more of Arin's posts regarding Cristiano, the hate comments towards Arin started to roll in.
Shut the fuck up, bitch, and keep your crazy conspiracies out of Terabyte's death. He's dead and can't defend himself.
You're sick in the head to hurt someone who did nothing but trust and help you.
Free speech does not cover targeted harassment and slander. You'll be hearing from the lawyers soon. But you knew that and claim ignorance.
Blatant death threats attached to real names and faces soon followed. However, that strategy proved futile as screenshots tying people to their publicly available information forced them to delete posts and comments. They taunted and threatened, promising retribution for crimes Arin had not committed. Cristiano's friends, or so they claimed, became intent on silencing her. They accused her of being a traitor, running the FlyHighIcarus account, a secret informant leaking Cristiano's deepest secrets to the world. Arin was no spy, just a woman caught in the crossfire of a digital war. Within a week, the threats evolved into an advanced insidious form of psychological warfare, all under the guise of plausible deniability via shitposting.
Shitposting, as defined by Oxford Languages, is vulgar slang. The activity of posting deliberately provocative or off-topic comments on social media, typically in order to upset others or distract from the main conversation. They post anonymously because that's how they get away with shitposting.
Cristiano's crew had the advanced marketing and cybersecurity skills to pull off anonymous accounts targeted to reach Arin. Do you understand the power of modern marketing? Marketers have secured jobs off telling their future bosses in an interview.
I will target an ad to you in the next week. You will click on it, and you won't know it's me. Let's schedule a follow-up interview for next week, and we'll discuss the results then.
The account that appeared on her screen was in the latest trending tech movement on this particular social media, and those affiliated willingly put the movement's acronym in their bios. This specific account's screen name was Dark Archangel 722. For those who understand angelic numerology, the significance of 722 relates to the angels indicating your health is at risk. The post displayed a picture of a detective's desk adorned with two framed pictures of a newly happily married couple. On the desk lay a police report, a badge, and a handgun. The caption posed a question.
Can you imagine your life in 25 years?
The first commenter, known as Trismegistus, elaborated on the symbolism.
It says Seattle Police 214 on the badge. 2 plus 1 plus 4 equals 7. Beretta 96FS reduces to F equals 6. S equal 19 when added to B for Beretta. You get 27, which is death. October 28th is Scorpio date on the police report.
Then the second commenter below Trismegistus typed.
Even 6 months would be a stretch, sighing emoji.
They had Arin's birthday year, 1996, gender F for female, and age 27. Was this comment insinuating her death with a Beretta while purposely mentioning 6 months out from the current day, April 28, 2024? Would she live to see her birthday on November 10th? Arin decided to do a quick online search for Beretta 96FS, but 92FS came up.
An exclusive series, Beretta 92, the world's most trusted military and police pistol, and has been setting the standards for best military, police, and tactical pistol for over a quarter century.
Whoever the poster was made sure the symbolism was specific to Arin Driscoll. It only took 4 weeks after the threats for the first disaster to strike in the form of a car accident. It was Sunday night, just a little past 8, and Arin was on the way home from picking up a pizza. As her SUV stopped for the stoplight, a collision of metal and glass sent shockwaves rippling through her world. The vehicle behind failed to slow down and hit her at 50 miles per hour. Their car was immediately rendered disabled and required towing from the scene, while Arin's SUV was able to drive off until the collision shop appointment. After the police arrived to type up an incident report and cited the at-fault driver for inattentive driving, Arin pulled into the nearest gas station. She couldn't shake the feeling of dread that hung heavy in the air. A white sedan, nondescript and unassuming, pulled into a parking slot right near the front doors, its license plate a stark warning, expired. Spelled expired. The word struck like a bolt from the blue, leaving her in a state of confusion and genuine sadness. No tears fell from Arin's eyes as she struggled to comprehend the fallout from Cristiano's death a month prior. The occupants of the sedan remained unseen as their car disappeared as swiftly as it arrived, leaving a lingering sense of unease. Arin sat in the vehicle, unable to rule out that the vehicle's driver was not paid to hit her. Chapter 2. Heartbreak Hotel was officially known as Tropicalia Bay, a 5-star resort in Cambodia nestled in the Botum Sakor evergreen rainforest off the Gulf of Thailand, with many sister hotels that fit into the exotic theme. Unfortunately, with Cristiano's death, there was no way that Tropicalia Bay was going to be able to hide their local nickname from being spread around the internet. Just as some houses have a strange history of particular tragedies, this hotel had the untimely deaths of attractive men of means dealing with major heartbreak. Hotels average 1 to 2 deaths a year for normal reasons such as medical, accident, or natural causes due to sheer volume. Yet, this strangely specific issue Tropicalia Bay faced was every year or other year, but not more than 3 years without incident. A year and a half before he accepted the title of as sexiest man alive, there was a worldwide cybersecurity outage that rendered airports, hospitals, businesses, and government agencies helpless. The US government knew it screwed up on technology and cybersecurity education and finally decided to take better action. So, they did what they do best, merged all three branches, military, corporate, and Hollywood to recruit a rising cybersecurity YouTuber to mainstream relevancy. Information such as this trickled out within the next couple of months because one true crime community created a few forums dedicated to Cristiano Caselli. They even cataloged 3 of his leaked secrets from the FlyHighIcarus account. This true crime online community specifically picked up on the story because one cybersecurity practitioner who assists the true crime communities in finding missing people and wanted criminals was involved in the group working to expose Cristiano. Additionally, this community was known for not shying away from controversial cases. To the shock of the cybersecurity and true crime communities, the news outlets that reported on his death mentioned it only briefly, with no additional details. One self-proclaimed vigilante from the true crime community, who learned early on about this group's effort to expose Cristiano Caselli, started mapping out his known associates by stalking his social media presence, nearly instantly. This bored and semi-skilled man, who thrived on drama, decided to contact Arin the day Cristiano's death was announced. Arin didn't have time to thoroughly vet the man's socials, but she noticed they shared some mutual connections. The man had ties to the cybersecurity community, posted about growing up in a military family, and spoke in a matter-of-fact demeanor, claiming that a U.S. weapons arsenal had been breached and that the government wasn't taking it seriously, despite alleged ties to Cristiano's treason of U.S. secrets. Arin took this seriously because she had previously seen former friends exposed as frauds. For example, one of the former SafeMoon scammers mistakenly thought he could talk to the scam investigator known as CoffeeZilla without having his face ending up in a thumbnail with the title, $1 Billion Scammer, had nearly appeared on Arin's YouTube channel before that incident. Arin and Cristiano ran in circles with extremely powerful people. Arin's friend, who informed her of Cristiano's death, was also in proximity to someone he trusted in the intelligence community that was arrested for conspiring to violate U.S. laws relating to money laundering, cryptocurrency, and sanctions for collaboration with a foreign enemy nation. So, while this might sound insane and fabricated to the average person, Arin was already primed to believe what this vigilante was saying. It was unknown to Arin at the time that this self-proclaimed vigilante had a long history of being a pathological liar, dating an overseas scammer, and, unfortunately, so much more. Due to his careless and selfish actions as a full-time truth seeker, he can only infiltrate new circles for a short period of time before being forced to relocate frequently. To his credit, he knows a few substantial people, but usually lies to them and keeps a distance to avoid being figured out, which allows him to occasionally obtain some high-level information. He believes he just needs to position himself as the right victim in a major situation. However, he has a pattern of attempting this and suing. To the point he's on a government watch list for being involved in 2 major incidents that made the news 12 years apart. That's how this man found the true crime community that was reporting on Cristiano Caselli. Someone told one of the members in the original group exposing Cristiano to talk to this man, who knows what it means to be in an unbelievable situation. When this man came into contact with Arin, he was thriving off inflicting emotional distress on her while maintaining the pretense of being the good guy. Yes, people are allowed to say whatever they want due to freedom of speech. The issue at hand is when one is saying things to elicit a certain reaction based on manipulation, intentional planning to cause psychological suffering. How you react is entirely on you, strips accountability for the malicious intent, and other factors, especially when someone has been studying their target. It took a few weeks for Arin to stop talking to this individual because of needing to detox from the drama around Cristiano Caselli. Chapter 3. Tuesday is September 3, 2024 marked 5 months since Cristiano Caselli's death went viral, and Arin Driscoll feels like a completely different person, but not necessarily in a good way. Her soul feels like it's aged at least 10 years since having threats on it. Especially after the accident within the same month that eventually totaled her vehicle. Occasionally she pulls up the threats to remind herself this nightmare was real. Although, the lingering neuropathy in her body is proof enough, in conjunction with the burning sciatica nerve pain that starts in the lower back and extends down the inner right thigh. FlyHighIcarus consistently posted updates, amassing 5,045 followers. A respectable amount of spectators for such an incredibly deranged and dangerous story. Interestingly, FlyHighIcarus has 2 new allies in the form of OSINT open source intelligence and human intelligence sleuth accounts aiding their investigation.
Open source intelligence, pronounced OSINT, according to Wikipedia, is intelligence produced by collecting, evaluating and analyzing publicly available information with the purpose of answering a specific intelligence question. Human intelligence, human pronounced humint, as defined by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, is intelligence is derived from human sources. To the public, humint remains synonymous with espionage and clandestine activities. However, most of human collection is performed by overt collectors such as strategic debriefers and military attaches.
The names of the two new assistants were Redacted 1 and Redacted 2. Both of these accounts were using a screenshot of FlyHighIcarus's original post that announced Cristiano's death and the number of views it received as their profile banners. Meanwhile, their profile pictures featured shadowy detectives in hats and trench coats with red bars across their eyes. It was in homage to one of Cristiano's leaked secrets, which revealed how some of his former business partners had caused his fiancée, the love of his life, to commit suicide. There were sleuths who knew she had been gone for a few years and found her social media accounts. They discovered a photo of her, naked from waist up, with a red bar across her breasts and the word "censored" in white text over it. She stood in front of a bookcase that had military gear, books, and BDSM equipment on top of it. The caption underneath read, "I prefer to read books on natural." FlyHighIcarus, Redacted 1 and Redacted 2 tagged Arin, internet drama commentators, cybersecurity influencers, Cristiano's friends, his primary business partner, the FBI, CIA, NSA, and Interpol, just to name a few, in their posts. Whenever they did this, Arin wondered why she hadn't blocked them yet. Recently, FlyHighIcarus, in conjunction with Redacted 1 and Redacted 2, announced a podcast series detailing the information they've gathered on Cristiano's final timeline and recruitment for espionage against the US government. They released the first episode, and Arin was mentally preparing herself to listen to it. She was aware that Derek Galicia posted a 15-minute audio space in his signature raspy smoker's voice on social media, sharing his opinion on who might have killed Cristiano, which FlyHighIcarus promptly reshared. Arin wasn't sure what to expect from the podcast, but the information already circulating online sounded terrible and unbelievable. Bombshells dropped in clusters, and quite often. Outsiders didn't believe anyone involved unless they stumbled across this whole social media fiasco themselves. Finally, it was time to listen to the first episode. Arin hit the play button. The podcast intro was clearly professionally made, blending a crime thriller narrator with old-school radio announcer. The royalty-free music in the background was science fiction cyberpunk-esque, giving the whole thing a dark, dystopian vibe. It made you feel really cool, honestly, as if you were listening to a seasoned hacker activist addressing an underground resistance movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us as we enter a world where nothing is as it seems. We are gathered here to expose a story that spans continents, involves the dark underbelly of international espionage, murder for hire, the loss of a young, beautiful soulmate, and so much more. This story doesn't have an end quite yet, as it continues with internet sleuths FlyHighIcarus, Redacted 1, and Redacted 2 leading the charge for justice and truth in this podcast series. This is more than just a story. It's a mystery waiting to be solved.
There was a drum roll sound effect. FlyHighIcarus, using a real-time AI voice changer to sound like a 30 to 40-year-old North American man, began speaking.
I represent the FlyHighIcarus account, and for this episode we have a strict schedule to cover the developments on Cristiano Caselli. Since our account first made the news of Cristiano's passing viral to the broader cybersecurity community, hacker hecklers, jackasses, and degenerates of all flavors have threatened us and tried dox us.
Doxing, also spelled doxing, as defined by Fortinet, is derived from the term dropping docs or documents. Doxing is a form of cyberbullying that uses sensitive or secret information, statements, or records for the harassment, exposure, financial harm, or other exploitation of targeted individuals.
It was our duty to come forward when a Department of Defense contractor who broke his promise to our homeland needed to be held accountable, even if it had to be in death. It's been suspected for a while that Cristiano Caselli was compromised by the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP of China. His drug addiction was likely an entry point, along with what might have been embezzlement of funds. While we don't have extra information on the funds at this time, when Cristiano was scrutinized within the intelligence community and began to lose privileges, we heard he was tearing a hole on the way out with a high-priced rogue lawyer known as a new strain of a son of a bitch. Some government projects he worked on included communications and hardware, which we unfortunately believe he handed over to his overseas handlers for espionage. The timeline from suspicion of endangering U.S. secrets to murder is a fast one. It's safe to assume the U.S. government immediately regretted recruiting Cristiano as world's sexiest man. Redacted 1 has more information on Cristiano's timeline in Cambodia and who may have been involved. Redacted 1 has been designated primary host.
The episode included the fact that it had been 2 months since Cristiano's best friend, Derek Galicia, posted his death certificate and claimed that Ben Walker, who had flown out to Cambodia to visit the morgue, verified Cristiano Caselli was indeed a 190-pound meat popsicle. Cristiano had sent texts to Derek Galicia 2 weeks before his death, claiming surveillance drones were being flown past the large floor-to-ceiling window of his private premier hotel room, which faced the jungle. Derek obtained additional information from the local assistant who pressured hotel staff to enter Cristiano's hotel room and raised concerns to the Cambodian authorities about his suspicious death. Then, an unnamed individual also visiting Cambodia who had met with Ben was severely cut with a machete during a fight over the FlyHighIcarus account. Then there were Arin's private messages to FlyHighIcarus about the calls she had with Cristiano while he was mentoring her on her YouTube channel in cybersecurity. During a few of their calls, he talked about a high-ranking connection he claimed to have at the Department of Defense (DoD), who he said had bailed him out of jail on weapons charges after a weekend of partying drunk and high. Cristiano then bragged about how they were able to get the records sealed since the state of Colorado was attempting to throw the book at him. This prompted Redacted 2 to file FOIA requests pertaining to Cristiano's communications with this DoD bigwig. FlyHighIcarus, Redacted 1 and Redacted 2 believe this directly correlated to this man's public resignation announcement on major media outlets a few weeks later. Finally, there were updates on his Chinese connections, including possible clandestine meetings he may have had before his death and whether they might have been paying for his hotel room. There was no sign-off message, it just ended with the last bit of information. The episode had only been up for a few hours and garnered enough comments. Arin started reading the comments, and as you might expect, there were more anonymous accounts defending Cristiano. It wasn't a good look for these accounts to defend someone who has been suspected of treason against the US and apparently was a top-tier shitbag. Mr. Troll commented on the first episode.
This won't end well for you, Arin. First you mock me, then laugh.
FlyHighIcarus replied.
Fuck you with middle finger emoji.
We Listen and Judge chimed in next.
You replied on the wrong account, FlyHighIcarus, or should I say Arin. The hatred and obsession over a dead man needs to stop.
Arin felt she was starting to go insane. Who was Cristiano Caselli? She was a huge fan and supporter up until he snapped on her around the time he became sexiest man alive. That's when he started exhibiting extreme paranoia, but with all the darkness surrounding his death, it seemed like his behavior was justified. International espionage, murder, attempted murder, embezzlement, and alleged resignations of high-level government officials? The first podcast episode was too much for Arin. It was too heavy to fully understand the situation as developments were still unfolding even 5 months later. Around 7:30 p.m., she fell asleep out of sheer emotional fatigue. The next thing Arin knew, it was 3:03 a.m. and her phone was lighting up, ringing, and almost floating off the nightstand due to its vibrations. Arin picked up the phone, seeing 5 missed calls from Cambodia with the country code +85588. In a split second, a veil of melancholy and panic descended upon her. She was officially trapped in the middle of a real-life crime drama. She could not understand, for the life of her, why someone was calling her from the jurisdiction Cristiano Caselli died in 5 months ago. Chapter 4. The second time Arin woke up in the middle of night was at 12:32 a.m. on October 7, 2024, 3 weeks until October 28. That was the day one of the anonymous posters insinuated Arin would depart from this world. Her head and torso shot up randomly, waking her from slumber with tears streaming down her face. She lowered herself back down and rolled over towards the nightstand to check the time on the phone and see if any missed calls from Cambodia had arrived. No, that wasn't it. Those tears were not hers, and she hadn't had a nightmare, or even a dream. The tears kept streaming down her face to the point where she felt possessed because she wasn't experiencing the emotions of sadness or any other tangential emotions. She was full-on sobbing into the pillow, and it felt like her arm muscles were fatigued, as if they had been stretched out against her will, possibly grabbing for something or someone who wasn't there. After the crying spell and arm manipulation wore off, she only felt confusion and fear. Later that day, Arin reached a tipping point regarding Cristiano Caselli's death. Out of nowhere, Redacted One quit as designated podcast host before the release of the second episode, which was set to release that Friday, and tagged Arin in their rage quit. Arin felt she had a right to keep her social media open because she hadn't done anything wrong, at least in her eyes. Yet, she decided she had been mistaken, because you can't reason with the unreasonable, and apparently, she was in the thick of the idiot plot with these fools because of her willingness to engage. Especially after Redacted One made two strange posts. The first post, which they pinned to the top of their account, stated,
"This account is now under the control of the National Security Agency NSA. This action has been taken pursuant to legal authority related to national security concerns. All content and communications on this account are now subject to investigation. For further information or inquiries, please contact NSA Public Affairs at 555-555-5555 or visit our official website at nsa.gov."
Arin commented underneath the post,
At symbol NSA.gov, can you confirm the veracity of this post?
Redacted One's second post.
"This is when I choose if I will die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. I am sorry for what is to come of this. FlyHighIcarus is Arin Driscoll, a nobody that failed in cybersecurity, playing victim when others like myself are actively putting their life on the line for the sake of justice. Her main account is Cyberdoll, Burn This Witch, flame emoji and skull emoji."
Before making her social media private, Arin posted about being out of options on how to handle her situation. The main reason for this post was to declare that out of last resort she was handing her problems over to God. This post included a screenshot of the asinine NSA post from Redacted One, in case they would choose to delete this in the future. An anonymous account known by the name of Verloc commented, saying they believed this NSA message was fake and attention-seeking. Another well-intentioned anonymous account, by the name of Psychotic Techno-tech, responded, saying he'd been monitoring her posts about the situation over the past few months and believed she wasn't making this up, adding that God was using this situation to enter her life. This brought things back to the messages that caused Cristiano's digital army to start attacking her. Arin revealed that Cristiano was a practicing Satanist who had large tattoos of a devil and Grim Reaper on each of his pectoral muscles, respectively holding a pitchfork and a scythe that touched near the top of his sternum bone. Arin made sure to find the picture of Cristiano shirtless on a yacht from one of his social media accounts that was still public. The reason Arin even divulged this information was that, when she started searching for more details about the satanic group which Cristiano practiced black magic, she found allegations of a missing woman whose body may have been used in a ritual. A week passed without incident. Blocking nearly everyone involved with this public exposure of Cristiano appeared to be working. Arin had been experiencing intermittent guilt for betraying a friend. The words,
"He trusted you,"
often echoed in her mind alongside,
"Is this Stockholm Syndrome?"
A suspicious account requested access to her private profile. It featured an AI-generated photo of a middle-aged Arab man with the tagline, "FBI whistleblower, see links on my profile, cybersecurity engineer, free speech." When Arin scrolled to look at his posts, she found claims that sorcery and occult activity in the FBI had led directly to domestic terrorism events. Arin nearly fell over but took screenshots of the connection request and screenshots of this man's public posts, which were most likely bait on a fake profile, before blocking the account. At this point, Arin began to have doubts about the man from the true crime community who contacted her a few months prior. Many things in this situation did not make sense. Chapter 5. It was Monday, October 21st, 2024, 1 week before October 28th. Arin, someone who is neither religious or prays often, has bargained with God in her nightly prayers, asking that if he is real, to please show her a sign to indicate she should get baptized. She's begging God to reveal himself in such a scary and potentially deadly situation, because as the saying goes, there are no atheists in foxholes. During the past few months, she has been taking Ubers and using a rental car for at least 1 week each month. This week, she had a rental car in possession and thought nothing of it when she was casually driving to pick up lunch and saw the license plate hellish. After picking up lunch, about 5 minutes from home, she saw the license plate I beast. She immediately thought of Cristiano and began to say out loud while driving,
"Okay, God, you win."
and commenced crying because she was freaked out by seeing these license plates within an hour of each other. Arin took this as her sign to get baptized. That Monday night, she sent an email to a local church inquiring about baptism. On Wednesday, October 23rd, she scheduled a baptism for that upcoming Saturday, October 26th, after their 4 p.m. sermon because they perform baptisms as soon as your spirit has received Jesus Christ. Arin's accounts have remained private while she has been talking to psychotic Techno-tech and Verloc in private messages for the past 2 weeks. They've been emotionally supportive, but psychotic Techno-tech, despite his name, appears to be the most helpful and sound of mind, super spiritual, well-read, and eloquent in speech, with a calm and understanding demeanor. In contrast to talking to psychotic Techno-tech, Verloc wasn't necessarily unhelpful, but his help was neutral and benign at best, an illusion of being helpful because Verloc doesn't provide any deep sort of information. Though their social media consists of them resharing posts that talk about things that could help Arin. They reshared a post by Amanda Knox, the American foreign exchange student in Italy who was wrongly convicted of murder, about what to do when questioned in the presence of police. Verloc also reshared a lot of privacy and security-based posts that a cybersecurity employee might share. He seems to have a military background or affiliation with them, claiming prior service. He is listening to Arin, who can't wrap her head around this situation and is doing OSINT on Cristiano Caselli's accounts. To make sense of it, to really figure out why their paths crossed. Verloc stated before that he was once in an apartment with a Fed and his girlfriend, and when he called the local field office about the Fed's misconduct, specifically the guy beating his girlfriend in front of him, he's the one who ended up in trouble, being questioned, and $5,000 down the drain from needing a lawyer, since the Fed was
a lying snake,
who claimed Verloc caused the disturbance that led to the police being called to the apartment. Verloc claims to believe in God and is aware that Arin believes God is leading her to baptism. Verloc has repeated variations of this phrase.
Man, I'd be paranoid if I was you.
At least 5 times when talking about Cristiano. It seemed like he was going to escalate things. He always claimed to be forgetful and needed clarification. Arin felt like out of nowhere something big was going to happen, but there was no real indication, just a gut feeling. Verloc has been dropping URL links to privacy resources and then suggests a privacy downgrade when saying to get Monero ticker symbol XMR, the most secure, anonymous, and untraceable cryptocurrency, which the US government has a bounty on for anyone who can crack it, and to swap that for Bitcoin ticker symbol BTC, which is easily traceable if Arin wants to go off-grid. Verloc dropped the link www.cultoftheinvisible.com/2024/1018/the last. Goodbye. A guide to disappearing forever /. Verloc then commented.
In theory, you could go the van route. I would make it look vanilla and be able to just park in a neighborhood kind of thing and be able to stealth cap. Not look like Hoarder Bob with crap all hanging off and racks and gear.
Arin felt something was extremely off with this person and somehow got the urge to Google Verloc. The search results on Google were as follows.
Adolf Verloc is a fictional character and the main character in Joseph Conrad's novel The Secret Agent. Verloc is a secret agent who runs a shop in London and is involved in an anarchist group. Role in the story: spies on revolutionary groups for an unnamed foreign embassy. Is ordered to start a terrorist attack on the Greenwich Observatory. Is part of an anarchist group that publishes pamphlets called The Future of the Proletariat.
Arin instinctively began to Google Nashville RV explosion and got sick to her stomach. Paranoia causes man to commit domestic terrorism. She blocked Verloc and immediately began to think that her search engine results had been curated by links dropped by Verloc, and if she had accepted the connection to the account of the FBI whistleblower, who claimed there was sorcery and occult practices behind domestic terrorism, that the media would conveniently claim a link to her and the delusional profile. Arin immediately messaged psychotic Techno-tech, who dropped a link to the video of FBI agent Gavin Ablenis caught on a secret camera from an undercover journalist. Excerpt. Ablenis.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
Journalist asks how.
You set 'em up.
Journalist asks if the Bureau practices entrapment a lot.
We get really close. We call it a nudge.
Journalist repeats the word nudge in an inquisitory tone, and Ablenis responds with head nod and some filler sounds.
Sometimes you just got to give 'em a quick little push just to see what happens. Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to really get people mad.
Arin types to psychotic Techno-tech.
I'm questioning the sanity and ethics of everyone involved due to the way these people have engaged with me. It raises the question of how much further they may be willing to go. Derek Galicia is adamant that Cristiano's killers are still at large.
Post of Derek Galicia that has been up on his account talking about who Cristiano's killers are.
FlyHighIcarus is directly responsible for the death of our colleague and compatriot Cristiano Caselli. Her behavior is tantamount to confession. I have been informed by reliable sources that Cyberdoll is a filthy slut, and as if that weren't troublesome enough, we need to get Arin Driscoll and FlyHighIcarus in the same room. Maybe we put her on the spit, do thunderclaps, climb the Eiffel Tower, as you Yankees say.
In this new, terrible development, psychotic Techno-tech decides to share more about his life with Arin, if he is even telling the truth. He is an anonymous account, after all, but she senses that his wisdom aligns with what he is saying. Psychotic Techno-tech shared a snippet of what appeared to be an About the Author section and lets Arin know he's written a few books about the meaning of life.
A lifelong explorer and frontiersman, Dalton Woolidge has worked as an action sports doctor, martial arts instructor, bassist, and more. Currently, he runs a wilderness school where students live in nature for up to a year to learn martial arts, meditation, and survival skills. A modern Renaissance man and spiritual mentor, he inspires others to chase their dreams and pursue lives of passion.
Psychotic Techno-tech types.
You're online in this psychological game with these people whose main goal is to waste everyone's time by sucking them into their social media, and they are purposely engaging in outrage marketing tactics. It doesn't matter who's behind these accounts. It will not look good for them. At the end of the day, you don't always need a human answer. Look at how horrible and tragic this situation has become. Cristiano lived a failed life. His sins were his God. Remember, the most repeated phrase in the Bible is, "Do not be afraid."
Psychotic Techno-tech then told Arin how he learned the meaning of that phrase the hard way. He met God while screaming out for him on the side of a mountain, thinking he was going to die. It took God knocking him off a mountain to humble him. A level of terror most people never experience, and one can't fully describe. The story of Cristiano Caselli resonated with him because, in his career, he was brought to the tops of mountains all around the world, but the truth was that on the day of his accident, he walked up believing he was his own god and made nearly every wrong decision before going out into nature. He ventured out into the backcountry alone, brought no food and only a minimal amount of water, and, lastly, told no one where he was going. He became complacent with his 25 years of experience before he lost his footing and slipped a few stories down a mountainside. A major factor was the fact he was a doctor. One starts to believe they are a god in the flesh when they can cut into people and heal them. The issue he faced was being in an impassable area without the proper equipment, the weather turning against him and the likelihood that he would not survive nightfall without any insulation. Fortunately, he was only in a wheelchair for a few years, but lost nearly everything during that time. Psychotic Techno-tech, if he really is Dalton Woolidge, made it, but not without a spiritual awakening. This awakening came after his 65-year-old mother was hit by a drunk driver at 10 a.m. while leaving the pharmacy, picking up his medications a few months after his injury. It was not her fault she got hit, but it was his fault for his accident. She survived, but he still blames himself. God entered his life through signs, though he does not talk about these signs with Arin. Psychotic Techno-tech tells Arin one more thing.
Men of great talent often forget who bestowed that anointing on them. Influence is not anointing. Popularity is not anointing. Success is not anointing. Anointing is the supernatural ability from God to do what human effort alone cannot. It can't be taught, only received, and taken away just as freely as it was given. These things that we do, these achievements really mean nothing. They're just armor for our fragile egos. Do something nice for the world. Make it better in some way. Truly do it for the world, not yourself, and God will make sure you're okay financially. Stay off social media until you're where you need to be with God.
Arin logged off.